Awesome. Today, we are going to be going over the digital marketing guide, which you all will have an opportunity to see this show up in the chat. But this is from the SBTDC Center. You'll know it by that for the website if you go there. Um, but this is kind of a all-inclusive guide on what to look for and think about with digital marketing. It goes into some credits here on those that worked on it. As you can see, this was published in 2019, so it's not too old, but some things may very well be dated. And this is the Small Business and Technology Development Center. This center provides free resources like this guide. They have a capital gains guide that you can also download from there. And they also have professionals that can help you wherever you are on your journey, whether you're at the idea stage of your business or needing to find access to resources or support or coaching, much similar to coaching that's provided via SCORE. They are a resource hub that can find you those that are connected to your business or have businesses like you to have access to those resources. This is a table of contents. You'll see this. Now, I printed this out because I am a hands-on person. There are components of this book that you can print out and write in. So we'll see, you all will see it as we go through that tonight. But it kind of gives you an intro to exactly what digital marketing is. We know it as a different language of how many posts do we need to do? You know, how many people are clicking? How do we connect it to our site? They just have a different language that they use, but this is kind of like gives you a cheat sheet also in the back with a glossary of any words that you may not know. Because again, though it's a resource, if it's not in your common everyday language that you use, it may, again, at times feel overwhelming. So don't be afraid to skim to the back and look at the resources so that you can have access to know what these words mean from the glossary that may come up. Some common things around your digital marketing is to understand that your target audience is going to be different. You're going to have a business to business digital marketing. That this is for those that are service providers that may provide services to other businesses. Then there's the business to client digital marketing, whereas if you are a provider, a service provider in the capacity, or even, you know, your customer sales, this is your business to client or business to customer. This is tapping into the consumer that could be buying your product or your services. So you are, you know, it's a heartstring thing versus a bottom line dollar difference when you look at B2B and B2C. And then it talks about here, it kind of gives you the background of what the benefits of digital marketing is. And this is all about, this post should drive them to XYZ. So if you're posting like a Sankofa AVL, then your call to action at the end of that post is for them to follow your group page or come to the next pop-up. Or for you, like Ghana Styles, that with your digital marketing that you currently do, having links go to your shop so that they can buy directly from you. Those would be components that will go into what your call to action is. And then also thinking about how you want to establish your brand within it. And this guide is going to go over all of that. So thinking about, you know, color schemes, you know, being consistent. When you think about brands that you are familiar with or that you know, in these cases, you know what Coca-Cola look like no matter where it is, because they've branded this brand, they've used the same color scheme. Think about that in how you're branding and sharing your information. It talks about details about the benefits of it. Of course, there's consistency in color, brand, people seeing you more. And depending on whatever your target business is, this is where you look at the more people in your community see you posting, the more they're looking at your stuff. So the more you're drawing them in. So the frequency of your posting and how often is a matter of how important it is to you to engage them on existing platforms or drawing them to your website or direct sales. So this is what they break down as far as the quick guide to the 5 steps of digital marketing. And, you know, looking at what we'll be doing tonight. And then over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be, we're challenging one another to go through these 5 steps and begin to have this thought work and this process included in how we're mobilizing our digital marketing plans. So in the preparation of the digital marketing, this is kind of where we are tonight when we started this accountability group, setting our goals. Developing the buyer persona is an important step if you haven't done it before, and that is thinking about your ideal client, even down to making up the name, what they do for a living, how old they are, how much money they make, how they found you. Begin to, and this is kind of like your vision board, literally, of your business, because your ideal client or your buyer personalities are those that you want to attract to come to you. These are the ones that are going to be spending money with you. These are the ones that want what you offer. So they're going to have the need that you solve in that buyer persona or that consumer personality profile. When you look at refining your message, this is, looking at how you create and find content. Some of your content may be original. Some of your content may be posts that exist already. Just, again, thinking about what your call to action is does inform your content. And there's so many free and available content calendars out there. If you just Google search content calendar for the month, it'll tell you things to focus on and things to talk about based on whatever your niche is, as well as the original content, scheduling that out. Because there's nothing more dangerous than to have 4 photos that you've been holding on to and you just put them all out there in the same day, and then now a week later you have nothing because you didn't schedule it out. It was good info, but now you're back at ground zero, having to go ahead and design something else because you put all your content out there and you didn't drip it. So you'll hear me use the word language around drip. This is kind of like the trickling effect to keep people coming back to you because you're telling a story through your content. When you look at choosing your channels, this is kind of like looking at your eagle's eye view of every channel that your business is on, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, Twitch, Snapchat, TikTok. Like, you're getting your white piece of paper and you're putting all of these up here, and then look at how many followers you have on each of these. Because if you're putting a lot of your posts into one of your platforms that don't have many followers, then it's just vacillating. You have content that's vacillating that you need to be reposting in the communities that you have followers in, to kind of help re-engage it and kind of rebirth it or renew it. So when it talks about here, when choosing your channels, it goes into the different other aspects as far as optimizing for search engines. If you have a website, you want your search engine optimization to be picked up, that when people put in certain keywords associated with your business, you're in the top couple of seconds as it comes up. And if you haven't Googled your business before, try it. I have the pleasure that my business is my name, so I do it often. But just checking on your search engine optimization helps you see how long it'll take for someone to see an ad or a link to get to your social media accounts based on someone just Googling you. Then the step 4 is talking about putting it all together, looking at a plan that includes timeline, budget, and the content calendar. The budget for marketing is so important, and many small businesses are not implementing enough of their resources to that because we feel like, honestly, we can do it ourselves. But then time reminds us that we can't. So this is a really good investment if you do your research on finding marketing companies that will really actually do the work. Most marketing companies, if you have not used them before, they will market stuff for you, but you still have to create it. So it's not like they come up with this nice layout and ideas. That'll cost more. That's some extra add-ons that you can. But the more prepared you are to give this off or hand this off to someone else, it could be that you hire a virtual assistant that can do these same things and you kind of buy your time back. And then you want to look at measuring and analyzing and revising, based on your call to actions and some of the links on Facebook and Instagram. Either they're going to your shopping cart or they're going to your mailing list. And you'll be able to look at, based on the algorithm research that Facebook and Instagram already have built into their platforms, you'll get to see, how far down the clicks are they going? How many seconds of your video are they actually watching? Where does the attention span drop? So that you can then look at those things, measure them, and see where you need to pivot. So when we break down the preparing for digital marketing, this section really helps you set your goals around what to do. So this page right here is something that you can actually print out. So this is page 8. Within there, you can write on it. You can download it if you have PDF, and you can go in here and make this a usable document. But this is your first level of the first 5, the worksheet that helps you kind of define your problem, and then how can your digital marketing solve that? What can you say that can address the problem that you're hoping to solve through digital marketing? If your problem is internal and you need more leads, then your digital marketing needs to drive you to that. If you need more people to buy your product online, then your digital marketing needs to do that and guide to that. And then it's like asking, what does that look like? So how does your digital strategy to support and or impact your business? This is the vision casting part. So this is what you want it to do. And then it's kind of like, then you're going to work backwards and see what will get you there. And then this is kind of helps you get to the tangible part of SMART goals. How would you define the success of these goals? How is it measurable? How are you going to attain them? Because this is going to go into how many posts will it take to get to one sale, or how many posts will it take to get someone to go to your website? Being able to identify those things based on this. Going into the idea of developing your buyer persona, this is really, who is your ideal customer? They have some links in here that you can click on, but knowing who's actually buying your stuff down to the details of imagining what their family would be like. What are the things about that they may like? So Noena learned about people's fascination with shea butter and being able to be exposed to that. So you have a new target audience, right? Someone that is new to moisturizing, just that general of a client gets you $15 each time you manifest them to you. So being able to think about your ideal client are important factors that this booklet or workbook will help you kind of work through. So there's also a market research guide that they produce to kind of help you understand what it means to do market research. In this essence, when you're looking at your digital marketing, your customer avatar is kind of really who this person is, who the ideal customer is for you, and then you're thinking about the problems that you're solving. So this, what they call the customer avatar, you get to, imagine, this could be based on your existing customers. What are some things that they have in common, or some customers that you want to come, that you want to manifest, and think about where they could say no. Think about the reasons why they would say no, and come up with your solutions based on what you know about this person, what their goals are, their values, their pain points, or what problem are you trying to solve. Sources of information to support. This is supplemental too, that could help you identify how your work or your niche market solution can help this average everyday person, or whoever you're narrowing down your profile to be. Another component that they lift up is to be aware of your competition. If how you define your competition is going to be very unique to who your target audience is. I don't identify that I have competition. I just, I specialize in what I do so much that it's non-competitive for me, but I understand that people do similar things than what I offer. And these are the ways they're different. So being able to have that intel to who would be identified from a funder's level or from a consumer's level as your competition. And this is kind of like when you're finding yourself in a position where there's 15 other shea butter makers in the same building, then, well, these are the levels of competition you're looking at. How is the texture? What's the shelf life? Then you're looking at the competition of the labeling. Is this person at the stage of barcoding, and what's my plan for getting barcoded? Because this is kind of what helps you establish yourself in setting your goals around becoming that 7-figure boss that we're aspiring to become as well. So it has an opportunity here for you to evaluate your company in terms of the competition. Again, this is a worksheet based activity that you can think about. Spending time going to competitors' websites if there's people that you identify as someone that will be competitive in your market. These are the things you want to look for in theirs, and then make sure that you're addressing it or you have a solution that they don't currently offer in theirs. This is so important, the know your brand part, because has to be on repeat in your marketing messages. Like if there's a tagline, if you have something that, is very detailed and consistent or concise throughout the work that you do, lifting up that problem that you solve within your messaging is going to be so helpful to the benefits of you growing your capacity through digital marketing. And so in this section, it helps you kind of nail down what your brand messaging is. And I would say write out as much as you can. If there's not enough space in here, then write it out. Because if you get it all out and then you can narrow it down, it's much more than just trying to guess and fill it in each time someone asks you. Down here it says, can you make it shorter and refine? So don't be afraid to kind of let your, cast your vision net, share what you've been focused on, and narrowing down as part of the process, that you can get to what people speak of as the 30-second or 60-second elevator pitch, or your 2 to 3 minute pitch that you want to pitch to funders, things like that. If you are utilizing acronyms, just being able to identify a way to let people know what the acronyms mean, because it may not be geographically clear. Something that comes to mind is the Sankofa AVL. People in Asheville and Western North Carolina may know what AVL is, but someone that is not familiar with all aspects of North Carolina may not know. So being able to, when you're direct marketing, whether you are doing geographic or regional targets, especially in Facebook or Instagram ads, if you're doing geographic, it's important that if you are using any type of acronym, if it's only relevant to the culture or community you're in, that you spell it out at least once or make it clear what it is, either in your text, graphic, or in the narrative, so that people, wherever they're seeing it, can be able to identify. So with visual branding, they talk about, I think we lifted it up at the beginning of the call, the consistency in your colors, like you're having the same colors in your brand that you have on your letterhead, that you have on your website, that you have on your logo, that you have on your post. Being able to use the same color brands are so important for consistency. And so this gives you some information on the background as to why it's important. They also give links to other examples of small business branding stories, and then also solutions to kind of find. For me, I have a color scheme that I did in Canva. So every time I create something in Canva, I can go to my branded color scheme and make sure those colors are in it, so that there's a consistency in color. No matter what I'm posting, my brand follows that same color scheme. And whether you see it in my letterhead, whether you see it in a post, whether you see it in something in print, even down to the fonts that we use for consistency, especially if our brand is font letters and not necessarily a picture or a painting, that's important. So this digital marketing guide kind of helps you go through your branding board and being able to identify what it is. These color codes are the colors you see. This is a translation thing right here, for example. So with the primary colors, these are there's a number associated with every color that you use in whatever you post. If you hover over it, or maybe even click on it, you'll get the breakdown of what those numbers are that are associated with those colors. Some, as you'll see here, they'll talk about they're transferable. There may be some that are not transferable across platforms, so you want to cross check those, especially if you're trying to do this yourself and not working with a digital marketing professional. They may be able to do this very quickly, but if you're doing this, strapping up and walking this out yourself, just know that some of these font styles as well as colors may not translate across all social media platforms that you're publishing on. Then it helps you kind of walk through the messaging around the content, what needs to be in it, how you engage. This is, again, looking at if you're doing business to business or business to consumer, your content of what you're saying and the messaging may be very different. So it goes over why the content is important. Again, kind of breaking down, having an understanding of where things are or where things have been market wise up until at least 2019. You may see some of the stats or numbers maybe a little bit different now, because we're in a different time, and now digital engagement and social media looks very different than it has in the past, because it's been increased because of how we're in our new normal right now. So this book also goes over the content ideas, being able to blend, whether you're sending a video, whether it's blog, whether it's a vlog, whether it's a picture and a message, being able to come up with content ideas, and people that may have challenges in humanizing their story, telling people what's going on in the kitchen. I like to say events that we're going, how do we plan? For me, because I'm a community engagement specialist, how I engage in the community is very different based on the community. So when I can make resources or content around tips on how to engage, or showing how I'm preparing to engage a community, is helpful background content that we may be sleeping on. We just do it, but people don't know how it's done. So you developing content around that could be very helpful as well. So it gives resources on content ideas. It talks about the types of content, and kind of gives detail. If you all know the content around blogs and creating videos, I would say just based on the attention span of your audience will determine how long you should make a video. 1 to 2 minutes. If they're only clicking on the first 10 seconds, or knowing that, and that feedback is available on Facebook and Instagram, so you'll be able to see. Looking at ways to increase your infographics, whether you make them yourself or you find someone to do that. They have a tip in here. Of course, they mentioned Canva. Canva has a free asset developer tool that you can use. You can create all kinds of content up there. There's a free version, then there's a professional version. But Canva is really good at taking information and making it look pretty. It does take some work on our part, but it is the best platform that I've seen, that for those that don't do this, we're not, if you're not a creative full time, but you actually have another job you have to do, Canva is another asset to kind of help you. And these are all examples that you can adapt and amend these themes in Canva and personalize it to your own business. So there's always ideas of content available on Canva. And what you talk about here around keywords are the same way we talk about language around using hashtags and utilizing search engine optimization. There's a deeper personalized awareness around search engine optimization that you may want to spend some time on, that'll be specific to what your company and brand and organization really stand for and push. What those keywords are will be very personal to what you do specifically in your business. And then it talks about how to and where to use the keywords, whether it's in the website, if you're doing blogs, if you're using social media posts. hashtags fall under this category. Videos using keywords in the description as well as in the tags, taking those extra steps. These are things that, yes, it is busy for us to get to the expected end of thinking we're just going to post something and press send. The more details you put into the front end, the outcome of what you're looking for is going to be what manifests. So then they give you a worksheet on determining your keywords and being able to look at those important topics of your business. This digital marketing guide is only going to be as good as you actually use it. And I'm hoping that over the time that we're taking this break, that you take a moment, whether you have create a second journal, whether you print this out, but really think about how you can make your business better by taking these steps that have been tried and true already. And the cost to your business that this is your time. Because I don't want to take it lightly that your time is an asset and a resource that will be utilized in manifesting what your content, digital content strategy, and your digital content goals will be centered around. It still has to take that time for you while you're looking for your replacement, so to speak. So the more details and the more you break down in how you're learning it and how you're setting it up will make it easier for people to pass it along and be able to utilize this when you tell them this is what you want, when you have your staff that is working this business and working on your ad placement. And you, when you talk to a marketing professional, which we can certainly set that up, you know the language that they're using because you familiarized it. And then that makes you less of a victim of them just taking your money and you feel like they didn't do anything they said, because that feeling does not feel good. And that's when we get into the, oh, well, I could do it myself. You can, but just know either way, you're either paying for your time or you're paying for somebody else's talent, or you're paying for your own time and talent by investing in your business by you doing this initially. It doesn't mean it's going to be always, but don't discredit the small beginnings and what it takes. The more you know about the details of your business, the less someone else can tell you how it should be. And I've learned that through lived experience. Google Trends, this is again something like a deeper dive around how you can identify, once you register, this is something that you can do is registering your business on Google. But this Google Trends is a component that you can look at what's popular, what's going on, what's happening. I have a son who's now he's into printing T-shirts. So his Google Trend searches around, what kind of prints are people buying now. So he's coming here, he's seeing what's trending and what people are searching for so that he can find a solution for it. Or he can look on Alibaba and find their solution for it. And now he becomes a distributor of this product here. Whether it's printing on T-shirts or having other products in his shop based on what people are saying they're needing. So if you have specific products, I know we have Nuena that has product based, and we have Chantel that has product based items. This will be, what's trending. Wakanda was trending a few years ago, right? So this is when you come here and you look up African shirts, African skirts, and see, what trending, what you find in that, and then that helps inform if you have those. Yes, if you have those things existing already in your through, whether it's already in your store or something that's coming up based on what's trending, now you can have your call to action be that product that's already existing in your store. Yes, Chantel, you can unmute yourself.
And I was wondering, I've tried using this Google Trend thing in the past,
Mhm.
but when I put in things like African print, it's so, I guess it just knits down that it doesn't even register.
Mm. Oh,
It's like
that's
a quota.
good.
It's like a certain number of people have to be looking for it before Google Trends can give you an answer on it.
What about stuff like kente shirt or kente skirt? Like, do they have any African print specific items like head wrap or skirt, shirt, jacket, anything like that when you check?
I can check again, but usually it just says it's just not enough people because basically because of the demographic, has
Uh-huh.
to be so many people looking for it before it even really registers.
That's good. That's good feedback. And you want to be the thing that pops up. If it's not enough yet, then that sounds like a good problem to have because you're going to make people look for it based on what you're posting. And see if you can, I guess, manipulate the algorithms that way.
Okay.
Thanks for lifting that up. So here it goes over the channels again. I won't do too much of a deeper dive in it, but again, when you're looking at if you have a website or if you're sending someone to your Shopify website, whatever that looks like, there are ways that you can either work on that yourself. There could be templates that exist. And then here's your website checklist. You can do this cross check this checklist now against any existing website you have and then see how you can improve based on what you see, the things that they are identifying or lifting up. I every now and then I'll ask, my friends and family, hey, go to my website, tell me what you think. Let me know if something doesn't work, and they can give me feedback on what's not clicking or what's not working or what they couldn't do. This is kind of deeper dive into the search engine optimization. We kind of talked about it earlier. This is kind of this is based on words. This is based on how quickly someone can find you, based on keywords that you're using and how you're connecting it to Google for their search engine optimization. Now, email marketing in this case is going to be again unique. Whether you have an existing list, Mailchimp is common, Constant Contact is common. You can also do some of this, the layout in Canva as far as designing. What your email marketing campaign could be, and then online business directories. Here are a list of these where you can search to see how quickly. Um, your business comes up, or if it does, if there's free registrations on these, get your business on these. Is another way to kind of maximize your digital marketing plan. Then it's saying use Google to your advantage, and it goes into telling people why. We all know why because we always use Google for everything. So this is a way to tap into doing what we already do. And this is how you get your business listing on Google. So this gives you step by step on how to do that. There's no cost associated with that. And then it goes over the details of social media. This goes into, again, some of you are already very savvy on these. It'll give you some tips based on what would be a good idea as far as your general rules for social media. But I think, I want to make sure I got a chance to do this. You all probably won't be able to see it sideways, but make sure you look at it in the profile itself. I'm looking to see if I can. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to turn it. But this goes over the platforms and it compares across platforms. But the basics of what you want to be thinking about is where is your largest audience, and wherever your largest engaging audience is where you want to put your time in, as far as posting. And then it's also not just an information spot, but it's actually a platform where you're engaging. So you're going back to check to see if people are commenting on your post. You're going back and responding when people like it or ask questions. So it's not about community informing as much as it's about community engagement, even in the digital online community. So this social media platform session goes over every one that you have, and you write out what it is you do on them, well, which ones you have, and then why. And then it goes over each, kind of goes into details for the top ones to kind of give you a breakdown on what will be the key things, content based per platform that they were designed for. But then also, you got to understand whether or not it's applicable to your business. Short videos varies when it comes to the time on whether it's 3 minute max on a TikTok video, or a 60-second max on Instagram. So being able to identify where you post what you post. Underrated, people aren't utilizing it enough, and I've heard that so often over these past couple of Weeks is LinkedIn. So if you don't have a business page, creating a business page, putting posts up around a call to action on LinkedIn is a under tap resource because those are business professionals. So whether you're offering business to business service or looking for business to customers, even though they have their own businesses or working for corporations, they still have needs. So if it's something that you supply that can be a solution to that community, don't sleep on it. Get on it. It makes you look more credible. People are going to be looking for that when they're looking for you. So as you're growing your capacity as far as how you grow your business, then don't underestimate the power of LinkedIn. LinkedIn and Twitter are like the professional people's Facebook and Instagram, for lack of better words. So, if you have not created a business identity, or if you don't dedicate business specific things on a personal identity on these platforms, then consider that as you're transitioning. Pinterest is good as well, if you have time, but it's the same, very similar to Instagram when it comes to, looking at your strategies, your products. It's picture based. So people like to see pretty things. Infographics will be good on this for your business, especially if you're service providing. And then, of course, YouTube helps you maintain your independence from Facebook or Instagram owning your videos, if you don't have it backed up somewhere else. So just think about that if you are pre-recording, to build your audience on your YouTube channel just as much as you would invest in looking at building it on Instagram and Facebook. Um, Paid options for digital marketing, content advertising, PR, all of those are real conversations you got to have with yourself and your accountant and your investors. And for many of us, I understand that we are our first investors. So we kind of first just, well, I don't have a marketing budget. I don't have any, so we can't do it, but we can't think like that anymore if we're really trying to reach the masses. So we have to plan for marketing. We have to budget for marketing. And we have to put aside the tithe of time and the tithe of the finances that'll go towards how we grow our capacity on social media. And for all of us, it shouldn't be just about clicking, it should be about clicking to get to your service. So thinking about that when you're looking at marketing, how you run an ad, where you do your target audience, the geographic location, this kind of helps you have an understanding of what to look for. Facebook ad tutorial links. And again, if you're looking at this in the PDF form, you'll be able to click on these resources. And then it goes into your digital marketing strategy. This is putting it all together, making it a plan. From your website, what are you going to advertise and promote? How are you going to complement that in an email to your mailing list? How would you complement that to your online business directory if that's applicable to you? If you're a convener of other professionals, if you share resources, then looking at how you would be able to reach out to your online business directories and share that. And then for your social media, when it goes into strategies and timeline, break this down per target, putting in there what you're going to do on Facebook, what you're going to do on Twitter. And content calendars, I told you all, it comes literally a dime a dozen. You can get all this stuff for free. If you just do a search, Google search, and it'll give you ideas. You can base it on things happening during the year. If it's National Substance Abuse Month, if it's Take Your Boss to Work Day, tapping into those that are existing, that are identified nationally, can also help you build capacity around looking at what you put in your content. And again, it's about the measure, analyze, and revise. Or in other words, it's like look at it, post it, try it, see if you got engagement, and if you didn't, study why. This is kind of when you look at the wording. Was it too much text? Was it keywords that weren't picked up? How long did people stay? Was it too much to read? Being able to look at what you've done and revise it internally, you can troubleshoot that a lot faster than an external business person, because they're going to know why. They're going to know you know your audience better than someone that you pay to learn your audience for you. And then it talks about lead traffic simplified, how, again, the call to action is to get them to your website or to get them to your product. And then it talks about a little bit about the introduction to web analytics. So when you go into understanding what Google Analytics is, it kind of helps you go through troubleshoot support. They even have a Google Analytics Academy So there's so many resources to kind of help you again and again. Once you do this once and you get it, uh, don't be afraid to maximize knowing that you at least know how it works. And someone else may be doing this one day, but at least you know how it works, so that when people start quoting you on what they want to charge you per month to do this, you know the work that it'll take to go in it. And then also you are able to make informed decisions based on how much they're going to be actually be doing and how much you still have to do even with them. So they give this going over the Google Analytics kind of a breakdown of who's clicking on your stuff, and what are they doing? Is it being kicked back? Your email address isn't working. You got more people in New York hitting you up on this platform because of this. So, being able to read and identify and translate analytics is a benefit to you. Then it gives you a traffic by device category. Are more people looking at your stuff on a desktop or mobile or tablet? This matters when it comes into how your content shows up. Whether you are putting a picture and then you're writing a book after it, like a blog, you may have lower numbers on Instagram because someone doesn't want to read that and watch a video on their mobile. But if they're on their desktop and it's on Facebook, then they may look at it. So this is kind of what they mean when they're breaking these things down. And then also the source of where it came from. How did they find it? So these are things that are accessible and available. It may be an overload of information, but it's good to at least know how to consider that for your business. But it may not necessarily be something you look at every day. And then it gives the fourth example is by page views or bounce rate. So looking at your web page, once you register your website to Google, then these are some more details that you'll be able to identify. Which web page are they staying on the longest? Which web page goes to the sales cart the fastest? So being able to look at those details are based on you registering your business. So again, it talks about in marketing fashion, analyze, revise, and expand on your results. And it says be patient. In reality, this is where most people give up. So you have several days with nothing happening, very little changes. And I think I've heard it over and over again, like 3 feet from gold or 3 days from the perfect storm. People are quitting before they get to the expected end or the ramp up. So be on the lookout for that to know that trying and troubleshooting it, there's a method in the madness, but consistency is going to be so important. So they go with the conclusion, kind of reviewing some of the things that this book helps you with. Then also the consistency, if I can't drive that down any further, just knowing that this is going to take consistency on your part um, until you get into the position where someone else is consistently doing this because you're busy doing something else. So this is the commonly used terms I was talking about. So as you're reading this, if things are coming up and you don't understand or it's confusing, then this is the cheat sheet that you have right here. And then here's another link of resources. So you'll be able to click on any of these and be able to have access to further deeper dive what it is you're looking for. And then they have a little section on endnotes. And that is the digital marketing guide. So let's see. So I wanted to check in. Are there any questions?
I don't have any questions, but it was great. I mean, I have a whole page of notes, and my brain is just like this. Like I'm like, I got work to do. So, yeah, it was very informative, especially about the different platforms. Like I didn't even think about Twitter or LinkedIn. I always think of LinkedIn like if you're trying to get a job, like you put your resume on there. I never even thought about that. And the Google Analytics Academy, like to kind of look at that to analyze the pricing and the data and the where the states and all of that. I didn't even think about that. And then also the Google Trends. I never heard of that at all. So yeah, it was a lot of helpful information. Um,
Good.
so
Thanks
yeah,
for sharing
yeah.
that, Akia.
I'll say it again.
I said, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank
Any
you.
more other aha moments or things circling around?
I'm just grateful for all the resources you constantly give us, but I just feel like I need to be 5 people. Like, cause every week I'm like, yes, I'm ready, but I don't have the energy to do it all. I'm like, I'm burnt out. Like making products, making labels, trying to come up with talking points, sending press releases, doing this, answer emails, take care of kids, trying to do some self care. Lord Jesus, I don't know. I need some prayer and a miracle.
You got it, sis. You got it. You got it.
That's the truth.
What you're saying is it's some real truth. Like we get tired, we burn out. It's hard to manage, but just trust yourself and trust the process a little bit at a time. Your faithfulness of even showing up is getting you so much further than if you were just vacillating in the idea of wanting to do better but not putting the effort to go with it. So thank you for being here.
Let me snap it.
I love it. Well, I want to just lift up to you all. I'm asking that you all look at this link some more. Look at these pages because over the next 2 weeks we won't be meeting. This is our let's put it into practice. Let's see what we can do, what our plan is to get us to this expected end. So this is why I did such a deeper dive tonight because I know you might not have gotten to this digital guide without it. And you know what? I'm gonna send you the link so you can look at the recording still so that can still be an asset and a tool to you to grow your capacity. But we got 2 weeks. What can we do in 2 weeks to get our business where we want it? And this is kind of putting it on a pathway. So this is kind of the holding ourselves accountable. This is the if I can get away 10 minutes to go meditate for my self-care, then I'm gonna take 2 or 3 of those minutes to jot down what I could do to my business today, or who can I tell my business about, or who can I invite to my next featured event when I'm at Starbucks again. Chantel, did you have any questions or anything circling you wanted to lift up before we wrap for tonight?
um, I don't know because I do so much since social media is crazy that I kind of wonder if this guide will help me to have more in-person contact. You know what I mean? So I have a nice social media following, but sometimes it doesn't really transfer into activities or not even it. It transfers into purchases, but not on the scale of the following. If that makes any sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm hoping that when I go through this guide, that I figure out what the disconnect is.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point that you bring out. And I guess I would look at it as what opportunities are there. Not necessarily that there's a disconnect, as in you're doing something wrong, but
Mhm.
here's some untapped potential. Here's some new opportunities that, so you can identify who's like literally going to spend money with you. It's kind of like everybody's a fan, but who's putting their money where their mouth is,
Mhm.
or who's letting their money talk. And it can be in doing these engagements where you hear what they want, especially when you have large digital communities. You're asking real questions like, "What do you need?" and see who's getting it, like who's actually reading it, because these algorithms and the groups, even your posts, your audience, your people may not be seeing them, and blame it on the algorithm. Literally, it may not even be coming in their feed, or they may not even have their alerts turned on to know when there's a post in the group. So,
Mhm.
you have to think about that on the back end, that as much as we think social media helps us, they're helping themselves on the
Yeah,
back
there's
of us.
definitely some limitations to how many people they allow you to be exposed to, you know. So that is true.
Yeah, one thing will be another asset for you all, for other resources and videos is with the National Coalition of Black Women Rising. That is based here in North Carolina, but it's national. But she has her own platform, Black Woman by Us for Us, that she's built. The Audacity Leadership Institute.com. And she has a virtual networking space up there. She has a national coalition, has their virtual office on this platform. If you're at home working from home, you can go onto this platform and be working with other Black women that are working on wherever they're working on, wherever they are, whether they're in Africa, France, somewhere here in the United States. And she's built this off of the mainstream social media platforms for this very reason. She wanted to see who was authentically engaging, who was really communicating, who was really wanting to grow. So she has resources on that platform too. It's free to join. There's no cost associated with it, but once you join, once you log in, you have access to resources that are translatable in over 100 languages. So if you need content, you need ideas, you need some better practices, or if you are a visual learner like me, you like videos and see people talking, then she has tons of those assets available in there. And she's one of our partners with what we're doing with Black Girl Magic here market here in North Carolina. And so I want to lift her up as a resource option as well. To help you be able to connect with those people and find some more tribes to connect with for that accountability piece. Is there anything else that is circling around that we wanted to lift up? I know we talked about in the beginning which platforms, and then as far as posting, where to post, I guess I'll check in with you. Do you have a better understanding of what's going to work for you as you get started, Ikea, with Red Rubies? You're muted.
Say that one more time.
I was asking, I know I was just going through and double checking on anything that's outstanding that we wanted to make sure we talked about. And I know we talked about what works better as far as timing, and then the posting of where you would put your videos or your inspiration. Was tonight helpful for you, or is
Oh
it
my
something that you
gosh.
want to make
It
sure?
was so helpful. So
Okay.
helpful. And I'm gonna start off. I love how I'm kind of OCD. So with the step 1 through 5, it helps me to break it down because like my sister said, how you say your name? Nawana? How
Nuena.
it's like I have so much that I do. I work full time, the basics, the world, life. But it's just like I have to focus, and while you were speaking tonight, I was thinking like, okay, Key, you're gonna pick one day that you're gonna designate out of a week to just focus on your business. Because my goal is to retire in 3 years from my job that I work now, my full time. I want Red Rubies to be in a whole nother level. And so I gotta focus one night of the week to work on these steps to get where I need to get. And yeah, and I'm gonna keep this momentum going because like I'm hyped now. Then I get off get offline. I'm like, Lord, I'm tired. But no, I'm gonna keep it focused one night, at least one night a week, at least.
I
So yeah.
love it. I love it. So yes, so we will not be meeting in person together for the next two Mondays. This is our work. So I might send out a link or a connect to digital resource, but it's all about when we come back at the end of this month, what have we done with our strategy? Have we come up with, our branding identity? Have we come up with our calendar? Hey, you got your year planned out, like whatever that is. Just I encourage you to set your goals around it and find the time to do it. And then it takes a moment whenever you can find a moment. And I respect you saying give yourself the whole day, but be very specific in that day, like even breaking down to the hours that you will put into it, so that when that day comes, you don't feel overwhelmed because you couldn't get to every component of it, but just pace yourself and count the small wins. I mean, even if you read some emails based on it, or you looked up Google Analytics or you signed up for a webinar. Like, count those as your wins, as your investment in that time for your business.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you all. Thank you for being a part of tonight's session, and thank you for the feedback. I'm excited about even writing out the details for my digital plan. 'Cause I have several platforms that I have to post across, and I've been in the lane of how can I narrow it down and bring them together. So I'm utilizing the guide in that capacity and holding myself accountable to try out some new things and new ways to not burn myself out while trying to come up with content to be able to release. So I'm glad to be in company with you all. I'm glad to be able to grow this with you all and with us growing our capacity together. If any questions come up, if you have any hiccups on something with a link that you want or a resource or asset that you need that you're looking for specifically between those 2 weeks, don't hesitate to either text me or email me, and we can troubleshoot virtually until we meet again in person at the end of this month. Thank you all again for a great session tonight, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Peace and
Thank
blessings.
you. Peace and